Hello and welcome to the Almost Irish podcast. I'm Dan Barry.
Mick,
hey, I'm Dennis Rooney.
There we go.
I gave you the minute. I gave you a beat and you didn't take it. Comedy's about timing, Rooney. And I gave you the beat and you didn't take it. So I said, right.
I gave you the beat. How come you're giving me the beat? What are we, the Go-Go's? We got the beat? All right.
Yeah, we gotta start sorting that out. I think we just do it in alphabetical order from now on. Yeah, Dan, Dennis, Mick. It's really not hard to figure out.
Rooney goes, ABCD, Rooney,
Mick. Dennis literally looked in here like, who's first? Like, he has no idea.
Well, first of all, alphabetical, I would assume last name. And then you started Dan back, and I'm like,
even then, Barry Rooney Thomas. I mean, still.
Rooney Thomas checks out. Okay, yeah, I had to check that out.
Yeah, man,
I'm happy
sorry.
our casual looseness borders on unprofessionalism, some may say. But I'm happy we're doing this
unprofessional. Yeah.
You remember last week when I was like, do you guys feel funnier at night or in the morning? I think I've changed. I don't remember what I said, but I feel better doing the podcast in the mornings. I feel funnier.
All right.
I'm not saying
tired.
I'm just saying that's how I feel.
I'm tired, so everything I think is funny, I'm just gonna say, and it doesn't matter if it is funny. It's just gonna whatever comes out at this point. But
well, you've also probably been up for like 3 hours already, whereas this is like I'm up for like an hour and a half, and I feel I'm in my stride now.
Yeah, I've been up. I took my son to his cello lesson, and then we had an argument, me and my son, and now it's like kind of that's how my day started.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have
over the cello.
What was it?
Comedy is about time. Was it over the cello? What was the argument over?
Yeah, he comes out of the room after his lesson in the music place, and he's skipping, as no 11-year-old boy should be doing anymore. And he,
oh, sorry, he brought joy.
and he tripped, and he dropped, like he tripped and fell over. And I was like, my first thing was like, all right, are you okay? Because like I'm good that way. You know what I mean? I want to make sure he's fine. And
that one way,
you're great that way.
and then when we get into the car, I'm like, what the fuck you skipping? Like this cello, is it broken now? Now the guy is looking in the bag to see is the cello broken or scratched. I'm like, fuck, dude. Like they're not cheap, you know. It's not like it's not tambourine lessons or flute lessons. You know what I mean?
Can you get
Flutes
tambourine lessons, you think?
If you need tambourine lessons, you just don't need to be in music. Someone's taking advantage of
jingle,
you.
Hip.
Yeah.
Jingle hip.
Like the hip is like lesson 2. The first one is just keeping time.
Look, just like turn the wrist. Jingle.
Tambourine is the one instrument that, like, if you got brought, like if you ever watch Oasis in concert when Noel Gallagher takes over the vocals, Liam does nothing. Like sometimes he used to just walk off stage and go, I'll be in the back, I'm not on for these 2 songs. So then they said, like, you can't do that, Liam. Like, you got to be, the people are here to see you as well. So like, all right, so just give me a fucking tambourine then. So he just sat with a tambourine on stage like an asshole.
Jigga, hip and jigga.
I guess it's also like the only instrument you don't have to fake it. You know what I mean? Like if they were like, just do the keyboard or something. It's like, it's not.
Right. Yeah. You're not gonna drop them on a harp and go, right, belt that out for us.
Hey, what else can you do during these songs? I sing. And then it's like, well, yeah, but now we need you to can you do something at backup vocals? I don't sing backup.
Yeah.
I'll double check the lighting rigs during those 2 songs.
Yeah, sure he starts like testing the durability of the building. He's just like, the sturdy.
You see him on the side with like the triangle thing used to level things out or along.
Yeah. He's at Slane Castle, 260,000 people. He goes to the back and sells T-shirts.
I'll be at merch if you need me.
That would be cool.
Wouldn't it, right?
Yeah, except for the person singing on stage. Like Noel will be sitting there like, yo, come on. Guys, we're going to sell my shirts. I have my own shirts. They're in my back of my truck.
Can we go back a little bit? I got to ask something. How long has your kid been playing cello? Where did that come from? Cello?
When he was at school, they go like, all right, it's time for you to pick an instrument. And guitar is never an option in schools. I don't know why.
Because you can't perform in string and you can't walk in a marching band with a guitar, which is stupid.
So I thought he was going to pick something like, so he picked a cello, and I'm like, fucking why? Like, and you know why? Because he's obsessed with horror movies, and he loved the theme music to Jaws, and that was his goal, was to play.
He really wanted to play 2 notes. You couldn't just teach him the 2 notes, or get him a fucking $300 keyboard that you had a cello sound on it, where you could go doo doo.
Forgot that. Fuck, I forgot a keyboard has that.
Yeah, man, you're missing out.
Now he's a cello kid, but he's actually getting good at it and he likes it.
Having a kid obsessed with a cello and horror music must be the worst, like, overlapping circles. He must be just walking around, like, the house late at night with his just like, dun, 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 dun. It's like, stop it.
He's Mick and his wife are fighting, and also the other room you hear, doo, doo. Like, I swear to God, honey, if you raise your voice again,
he comes in speaking like Vincent Price. He's like, what is wrong?
Father, what is your problem?
There's terrors in the night and in the home.
That's fucking funny. That's funny.
He's mad because it's funny. He's like, yeah, you're right. We had to pick between like music. It was either like band, orchestra, or art. Like you had to pick one of those 3 things, or chorus. If you did chorus, like you could sing, you could play an instrument. I picked art because I'm not a musician in the slightest. But the reason I picked art really is because you couldn't learn like a guitar, and it's like, oh, we have drums, but it really was just like that one drum. We just like it's like I don't want to.
Drums was probably like the most requested one. I know it was my first. It was my number one in my school. With the music, you pick 3 instruments, like most wanted, second most wanted, and then like I'll take it if I could get it, if like it comes to this, you know. I had drums, saxophone, and then I had trombone. But I thought trombone was the trumpet. And they gave me the trombone, and I was just like, I remember going to pick it up, this long ass thing. I was like, that is not what I think it is.
We didn't have like in Ireland we had the tin whistle that it was just part of your class, like everybody played it, and then you also the only when you were made choose something, it was either football, as in Gaelic football, or knitting. Like they were your options, and I remember I had to spend a whole year knitting because I got in trouble on the football field.
She's knitting.
Yeah.
You spent a year knitting. You must be good at it, right?
I still can. Now, the only thing I haven't done anything.
You should be like knitting wool hats for your merch and shit, man.
We just talk on the podcast, just like, you know. But I remember we did something I did when I was with the UCB for a while. I remember we did this scene where I was just this person. I had to sit in a chair, and I started knitting in the chair, right? But one of these women, we did a show at the UCB at their theater. They had a school on, I think, 34th Street, and then they have a theater down in Chelsea. So we did a show down in Chelsea. Zach Galifianakis was on it. It was before he was like huge. It was before all the Hangover started, and I sat in the chair and I was knitting, and this woman came up after the show. She goes, "You really know how to knit?" I was like, "I'm just good at improv."
Shut your goddamn mouth. I remember in middle school, we had like for Americans, it's for 1 through 6 or 5, and then it's like 7 and 8, and then it's high school, right? So, or sometimes it's like a mixture of like 6, 7, 8, or 7, 8, 9, whatever it is. But for me, it was 7 and 8. And in 8th grade, it was home economics, and you took home economics, which, by the way, was just cooking. So I never really understood the economics portion of that.
Right.
It's just like home ec. Like, so anyway, so like we're sitting there cooking and like baking and doing all this stuff. And I remember like somebody's like, "No, this sucks." Or like back then it was like, "This is gay." It's like, yo, we're eating like cake in the middle of the day. Like, you need to shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah.
This is a highlight of my week right now. And you're sitting over there complaining because you'd rather be like in wood shop. You want mesothelioma? Like, I don't want to be anywhere near you. Like,
if eating cake in the middle of the day is gay, put a dick in my hand, my friend.
Yeah, I will suck
so much dick. Spend some time in school than doing that. Yeah.
When you know, it's like in the office or like whatever, like it's somebody's birthday and they go, "Oh, there's cake in the break room." Like, I beeline for that fucking cow. I'm pushing people out of the way.
I've never had that experience. I've never had a job like that where it's like, oh, it's so. I've never no.
Yeah, when you work in an office, you get to deal with all that shit, and it's like,
it's borderline annoying.
It's Martha's birthday. Come back and sing. I go, no. And I used to
won't sing. I'll have cake.
Yeah. I used to always with the bank when I used to working with Bank of America. They would go, come on back, it's quiet. We're going to sing to Carol. And I would hit the speaker button on the phone, which would do like a mock ring. And I would go, hello? Yeah. I'm like, just go ahead. I'll be doing it. And then they would wait maybe 2 minutes. And all of a sudden you hear, happy birthday. I'm like, fuck Joan.
And once you're at the hat, you just hang up immediately. You're like, all right, I'm off the hook.
And then like you inch up and it's like, and then they turn the lights on, they clap, and then you just like push people away. Like, I'll have the corner piece. That's the most icing. Just like give you like a look.
I don't like cake though. I only like ice cream cake and cheesecake. I've never big cake fan.
I just something to relieve the day. That's it for
Anything
me.
to break up the routine. That I understand. That I get.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm also the person who's like pizza Fridays. Like who gives a shit if there's pizza on Fridays? But then I'm also the person who's like, I'll too. Thanks. Is there soda? I've used the small plastic cup. Are you fucking kidding me? Like give me a real cup. Like that's all I want.
Annoying. That's like I've never been in a place where there's a pizza Friday, but if I was, I'd be the first one to be like, I think we should do pizza Wednesday or pizza Tuesday or pizza Monday. Like Friday's already an easy day. Like we're there. We got there.
Right, the weekend has landed. We're just running out the clock now. Yeah, you're right.
It in, especially Friday after lunch break. Nothing's getting done, bro.
yeah. When I worked, so I worked on a couple of TV shows. One of the shows I worked on, like there was like pre-production days, post-production days, and then there was like live show days. And live show days was catered food everywhere. And if you don't think it didn't matter what was occurring when I could have been in the middle of the most important task of my day. The minute that lunch bell rang, I flipped my fucking desk and I'd eat whatever I could find, because every other day before that, I was eating like the street meat. I was eating like halal food like every day because it was dirt cheap. Like I get a corner hot dog because I had no money. And then it's like, oh, it's like pasta day on set. I would sprint across 26th Street to the studio and I just fucking shovel it in. There's like
once
guys
he hears the lunch bell, just a Saved by the Bell song starts playing in his head, just like racing across city streets,
sliding across the hoods of shitty cabs. Yeah. So, I don't know how I got fat, boys. I don't know how it happened.
It happens. It catches up on you, man. I tell you, it catches. Like I took 1 week off in December. Was it? Yeah, December, because I got sick, and I don't know. I don't think a part of me is starting to think it was the COVID now, because it's taken me so long to bounce back. Like when I run now, it's like, dude, I'm winded after after a certain amount of miles that I normally wouldn't be. It's like, shouldn't I be better by now? So I know like that's one of the things. But anyway, but I took a week off. Said fuck it, I'm going to enjoy myself for this week. And my God, man, it's so easy to just fucking pile it on. Just like it's ridiculous. It's not fair. It wasn't a Woody Allen movie I'm dreaming, where it was set in some world where all the bad things you ate was good for you. Like vegetables would make you gain weight and that kind of stuff, but if you ate chocolate, you'd be ripped.
This sounds like an awful Ricky Gervais movie.
Yeah. This seems
I thought Woody Allen did a movie like that though. Like
I've only seen a few Woody Allen films, but that kind of, I'm not saying he didn't, but that sounds like out of his wheelhouse a little bit.
That sounds like something Anthony DiDomenico jerks off to.
Sounds like a weird fasting dream you had one night, Mick.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, I also will jerk off to this tonight, just so you know. Like the idea of, I could just eat cake and not get fat. Oh,
yeah.
So here's what I want to talk about this week.
It's about you.
Why'd you bring us here?
I mentioned your text. So we're recording this now on Saturday. Tonight's the lotto draw, and it is $700+ million. Right?
Yeah.
First off, did you buy a ticket?
Of course I did.
I'm in a pool with people.
I bought a Powerball ticket and a Mega Millions ticket because they're both up there. I bought them all by myself. And my plan is, if I win, to never tell my family about it. Just disappear.
Okay.
That's a lot.
I did not buy a ticket.
Because Mick has everything he needs in this world.
No. I never win anything. I just never win. I mean,
most people won't win this.
Most people, like some.
Your odds are like 1 in 700 million. There's a pretty good chance 699 million people are not going to win.
Yeah, like you being like, I never win anything. That's not really a great reason to not buy a ticket for this.
Right, but what I'm doing is knowing I'm not going to win. I'm only giving somebody else money. You know what I mean?
Say that one more time.
Because I know I'm not going to win. So why would I pay the $5, whatever it is?
Oh no, that I understand. Yeah,
somebody else.
There's a logic to it where people go like, if you didn't spend the money on scratch offs and you instead invested it, you know how much money you'd have? And it's like the answer is not $700 million. Like that's pretty much the straight.
Yeah.
In 20 years, I'd have 2K.
Yeah.
So if you were the only winner, what's the first thing you do?
After paying off debt.
Okay.
Right? Because you have to pay off all your debt. That's the first thing is like, okay, I'm debt free. And then you're like, now what?
Well, I'm talking about like the numbers come up to like tonight.
You're sitting on the couch watching it.
Yes,
what do you do?
I'm not talking about. I mean, we'll get into that. What would you do with the money? Because obviously, like I'm just gonna run up credit card debt. I'm gonna want the debt collectors coming to my door trying to pull a new set of golf clubs out of my hand. Like, but what do you do? You sit on the couch, or you just get a text, or you check the app on your phone, and you realize you're $700 something million. It's yours.
I signed the back of the ticket because that's the only way you can claim it, and no one can take it from you then.
Okay.
That's number one.
I hate how smart of an answer that is.
I know.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
No excitement into it.
At all.
I'm glad you went first.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Because you guys are like, first thing I'm gonna do is like, yeah, I'm just gonna take your ticket and sign the back of it, and therefore it's mine. And now I get to have so much money. Sign the back of the ticket, and then I immediately start looking at a house that I could have never afforded before. And then like when I collect the money, I immediately like go, I don't need that much house. Like that's more or less what happens. But I look at like, oh my God, like what am I doing? Because you have to celebrate. Like a lot of people will be like, well, the first thing you gotta do is invest it. It's like, no, first off, you're going to a fucking island and you're laying claim to a series of indigenous people and just being like, look, this is my life.
That's your idea of a celebration? Colonization?
Yeah. I just take over.
You're so British, dude.
Yeah, I plant a flag and I go, this is mine now. And that's all that works.
Before you go any further, I just want to say this, because you made an interesting point about like you'd find us, sign our ticket and be like, it's mine. I think if you won and you wrote Dan Barry on the back, depending on your handwriting, if I got a good lawyer, I could be like, that says Dennis Rooney.
Mine is very specifically. If you don't think I would sign that, like every little thing has to be perfect, you are out of your mind.
I don't know. I think
I'll write my goddamn social security number on it.
I'm getting something, or at least covering my my court fees or something, dude.
Yeah, fair.
To get me off your back at that point.
Yeah. I'm like,
your lawyer's like, listen, you got $700 million. Like, just fucking, it's not worth it.
Yeah, pay $60 and be like, fuck it, here you go. That's your court fees.
Yeah, I'm asking for $600. Like, sir, please.
So it's right. You could get that out of your regular checking account now.
Yeah. You walk into the bank like a big shot. I want to make a withdrawal. $600, please.
One of my favorite real life gags to do is like if I ever have like, even if it's only like $300, but if it's in 20, so you got a little bit of a grip to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whoever's next to me be like, you ever seen that much money before in your life?
Yeah, like once a week.
Probably, actually, I only do that to my brothers. Actually, I don't think I can get away with that to anyone else.
When I used to be a waiter, there'd be nights where I had like literally like $1,300 in cash just sitting in my
small bills too.
Yeah, and you're like sitting here like looking at like, this is a lot of money. Like you don't like it's weird to say like, but if you've never seen like a stack of money before, like that stack of money, like it could be, oh my God, that looks amazing. Yeah, that's $1,000. It's like, what the fuck? That's $1,000?
Yeah, trust me. When I used to do the vault for Bank of America and the guys would deliver the money, they would come in and let's say, because the bank is required to keep a certain amount of money in the building. That's all it has to take, right? So if you walk in and let's say you're paying a builder and he's like, you know what, pay me 10 grand cash and we'll, I'll knock 10% off, whatever to do.
Yeah.
So you go to the bank, like I want 10 grand cash. There's a good chance the bank going, no, we don't have it. Like, what do you mean you don't have it? You're the bank. Like, yeah, but we're budgeted for a certain amount of, based on transaction history.
It would be that low though, 10 grand.
Yeah, you might have to depend on the bank,
depending on the day and time too.
Yeah, you might want to make them call it. So you got to call ahead if you want that. We might give it to you, but you got to call ahead. But they, I remember when there was like $500,000 was coming in when I first started working at the bank, and like, oh fuck, $500,000 coming in, and the guy walks in like big, massive, sloppy guy from Dunbar, the guy delivering the cash, and he like one see-through bag, and he goes, "There you go." It's like that's it. Like
just throws it across the counter.
There's no briefcase like in the movie. Like, what's going on here?
If you've never seen those trucks, there's somebody listening to this podcast right now is like, "Oh, is that in Ireland, Dunbar?" Like that's
No, Dunbar's an American company.
No, I know. I'm saying if you've never seen the trucks in New York or whatever.
Is Dunbar a place in Ireland though? It does sound like it.
No, it's a name.
Oh, okay.
Finton. I went to school with a guy called Finton Dunbar.
The proper noun.
Yeah. Finton Dunbar.
He either was the toughest man you've ever met, or he got beat up daily.
I don't know. I don't remember much about him.
Mick, was there ever a bank robbery while you worked there?
I was in 2 bank robberies.
No, not ones you committed. Were you ever on the?
I knew that was coming.
Well, the way he said it too, he was like, "I was into," like he was casted in it.
Yeah, you never caught me.
That I was in 2 bank robberies in Ireland, and when I worked for the bank over there, one was on the first day of my job. We got sent away. They sent you to Dublin. I was working in Wexford town, but they sent you to Dublin for 2 weeks of training. And one on the last day, because all it was learn policy and procedure. On the last day, you went to a branch. No. The last day of the first week, you went to a branch, and they gave you a checklist of things to do. Do a withdrawal. Do a fucking give out a car magazine, because they were giving car loans and that kind of stuff, and do whatever. So I opened up and I was ready to bank the world, and I was sent out in Dublin in Finglas, which is one of the most dangerous areas in the country.
Second to Dunbar.
The door opens up. This woman walks in. She comes up to, I don't know, it wasn't my station. Guy behind her grabs her by the hair, puts a knife to her neck, and he's like, "Give me the money." And I was going to go into my own pocket to throw everything. I was like, so I'm watching this, and coming down the stairs behind, right down the stairs, there was a guy coming down this, because the offices were upstairs. The tellers were kind of on the floor level, but if you wanted to do something, not wheelchair friendly at all, you had to go upstairs. And there's this guy walking down, and I'm watching him, and he chases the guy out down the street. So it turns out that the guy coming down the street was a detective. Coming down the stairs was a detective, because there was a kid who had been robbed in that branch 3 weeks prior. It was the same guy that robbed it. And he held a gun to the kid's head, and he was so traumatized that he's like, "I don't want to give a statement. I'm staying home. Leave me alone." His first day back, 100% true. He's sitting upstairs giving a statement to the cop, and he goes, "What did he look like?" He's like, "That's him." And he pointed to the screen, and the same guy was robbing. It turned out the guy was dying of AIDS, and he didn't give a shit. He didn't give a shit.
Wait.
The robber.
What is this, written by Guy Ritchie?
The robber was dying of AIDS, so he didn't.
That is such a hard left, Mick. You're like, it turns out he's actually a decent guy who's just dying of AIDS, but you still like great.
The healthcare system is torn everywhere. It turns out.
Yeah.
People will do desperate things.
I worked at Fleet, which is the precursor to Bank of America.
Yeah. Before Bank of America, it was called Fleet.
Yeah, and I worked at Fleet, and I worked. So our like West Hempstead was where the it was across from like a White Castle. We had the same classes as you did, and then for the next week, it was like, all right, you got to go to Baldwin, and you're gonna shadow this other guy.
Yeah.
And as I got there, the guy was like, "Man, you just missed it. I was robbed the other day." I was like, "What?" And he like told me the whole story. It's real boring. It's whatever. Like the guy handed him a note, and that was his whole thing. He handed him a note, and that's all he did. But you could tell. He's like, "I could tell he had a gun." So then I'm working at the West Hempstead branch. They brought me back. I worked in that branch for a little while. That guy comes in to West Hempstead to fill in, probably like 6 months later. And I'm sitting there working, and he comes up and he goes, "Oh man, you just missed it." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "The other day I was robbed." I was like, You've told me the story. Like, either you're robbed on a weekly basis, or like you just want to like hold on. Turns out he was robbed like 4 years prior, but he just liked telling the story because people.
Jesus
You
Christ!
guys probably got PTSD from it. He's just telling anyone who will listen.
Right, but also he likes that victim. He likes being the victim, and like where people go, "Oh my god, that's so crazy," like whatever. And like he tells everyone that it happened.
Coming into work, he's like, "You just missed it, man."
Yeah, he's like 70 years old, like sitting on a camera. The other day I was robbed. It's like, Grandpa, come on.
There was a guy I worked. There's weird people like that with lie. Like to me, a liar is somebody that tries to get out of something. Like, Mick, did you take my chocolate? Nope. And like, I clearly like that to me is what a liar is. But then there's people who are fucking delusional. This guy came into the bank. He was a regular customer, again, in Bank of America, and he would walk in every day. And he's like, I could have went pro football, but I blew my knee out. One of those guys. And I was new to the country, so I was like, really? Oh wow, maybe he did because he was a big guy. And he ran the public storage around the corner. So it was one of those things where you could, if you were a manager of public storage, they had an apartment there, so you could live there. So he lived there with his wife. So he came in, he was like, I go, hey man, how are you? His name, I don't want to say his name. Well, fuck it, his name is Angel. And I go, hey Angel, how are you? He's like, bro, let me tell you, I had a rough night. He goes, what happened? He goes, well, first of all, I get a call, my mom's dying of a heart attack. So I go, she goes, so I get on, I'm bucking on the Southern State Parkway. All of a sudden, these lights come behind me, and I floor it. I don't care. And then eventually I pull over, and the cop pulls up and he goes, you know what you were doing? You were going like 150 miles an hour. And he goes, you either need to arrest me or you need to give me a ticket because my mom is dying. I got to get there. He goes, he gave me a police escort the whole way, but I didn't give a fuck. We were going in and out of cars. His brother came in later on that morning, who also worked there. I go, hey Frankie. I go, hey dude, man, I'm sorry, I heard your mother's sick. He goes like, yeah, she got a cold. Like, what the fuck? Like, how did you, like, you're delusional. Like, that guy is fucking delusional.
People, it's one thing to like exaggerate a story. Like, everybody does that. Everybody exaggerates stories.
Yeah.
That's fine. But you're like, in that story, you're just listening to this guy, and then at certain points, believable. It's believable. Right. Oh, that's exciting. And then all of a sudden, you're just like, well, clearly you're lying and making this up. But to what point? Like, am I supposed to be a little kid and be like, whoa, like you got to drive 100 and the cops were cool? You could, like, what the
and
fuck?
Batman was there?
You're grabbing people like, tell this guy what you told me. You know what I mean? I don't know.
The second, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's just like there's a side. So basically, there's like reasons people lie. It's like you get out of something, you impress somebody, or you feel included, right? Because like there's also that side of people who lie and go like, yeah, me too. And it's like there's always a story that's like, yeah, me too.
Right.
You know, but I think that a lot of times what happens is people are so fucking boring and they don't want to accept that they're boring that they start going like, oh, well, this happened. And it's like, no, it didn't fucking happen.
Yeah.
You need to like relax. But it's that fear of being boring, which is crippling to us too, by the way. Like all of our comedy bits, everything has hyperbole and like,
it's exaggerated. For me, it's exaggerated truth.
Yeah, or I'll combine elements to be like, this makes sense as a cohesive package, and I'll put that.
Yeah, 3 separate stories happen, but let me combine them all to one.
Yeah,
like my thing, what I'm guilty out of is like if somebody, like a family member, is talking, and I just don't want to listen to him, and they go, "Did I tell you what happened?" I was like, "Oh yeah, you mentioned that already." Like just so we can move on. Like that's kind of
I heard it.
yeah. Or if you're in a conversation and someone's just rambling and go, "Oh, you know that song by the Ramones, fucking Winkle Picker," and you go, "Oh yeah." Like, no, I don't know. I never heard that song, but yeah, if I didn't hear, because I'm afraid if I say no, it goes, "You didn't hear that song. You didn't hear that song." Like,
I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, and he goes into his phone.
It does sound like it could be a Ramones B-side.
It does, right?
Winkle Picker.
Can't get no satisfaction. You flip it over.
Can't get no satisfaction. The Ramones, not the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, that's right. I messed it up, and I just was like, I'm committing. This is all I'm doing now.
I would love to hear the Ramones do anything by the Rolling Stones. That would be interesting. I don't know.
That will be an interesting mix-up.
What is your most far-fetched story that is 100% true?
I don't know what you mean.
So, like a story that you've told that somebody's like, this guy's fucking full of shit, but you're like, no, this is
on stage or off stage, or does it matter?
What's that?
On stage or off stage, or does it matter?
I would say off stage, like something you've told somebody in the past where someone's like, you're lying.
I have one that's really crazy odds wise, but it's not that impressive. It's a pretty quick story.
Go on.
I was living in Bushwick, Brooklyn at the time, and it was all night. And I was ordering an Uber to go to my friend Joey G's apartment. You guys know Joey. He used to do comedy. We've talked about him before. Joey G gets a lot of exposure on this podcast.
He does.
Right?
He didn't get this much exposure when he did comedy.
Yeah. But as I'm about to order the Uber, I remember, I go, oh shit, Joey just moved from Williamsburg into the city. Now he lives in like Midtown or the Upper East Side or some shit. And I go, oh, I get the new address from him. I go, oh, it's going to take me a little longer to get there, but whatever, no problem, I'll be there. I get in an Uber pool, right, with one other person. Where do they get dropped off? Joey G's old building.
Oh, shit.
And then we continue on to, which like, it's not that I got to the party and told it to everybody. And I think one dude, he's probably like a mathematics guy. He was like, really? Nobody else gave a shit.
Did you hear that, Joey? Like shaking him.
You know, the Patriots are like throwing fucking Hail Marys. And we're just like, wow, out of all the places. I mean, sure, gentrification narrows the odds, but still, it's crazy.
Mine was, I used to work at the Santa Claus as an elf at the Santa Claus set in Broadway Mall, and the last day. So you're like, what happens in like Christmas Eve is like after 6 o'clock you hide Santa, and then you clean up all the stuff, and you work until whatever time. So for me it was like midnight or something like that. I was working. So I get in the car. My brother came to pick me up, and I started driving the car home. And as we're driving, we see a guy with it's a sports car, but it has a license plate. It's like stolen or some bullshit. I was like, this guy's a fucking idiot. And it turns out he's drunk. So we're following this guy, and it's like bad. Like I'm hit, like almost hitting the wall, like chasing people off the side of the road, like the way he's driving. So I tell my brother, I'm like, call 911, tell him this car is coming around, like tell him where we are. So I Wantagh Parkway where it meets Southern State Parkway. There's like a split. If you go, I would normally go west to go home, and he was going east. And we're on the phone with the 911 operator, and like, where's he going? Like, we got to know, like, what are you talking about? Like, it seems like whatever. So my brother's trying to say to him, and I look at my brother, I'm like, do we keep following him? He goes, I think we do. So we go east on Southern State Parkway, and he's on the phone. What's that?
Heroes.
Yeah, real heroes. So
take it my berry and put it up on top.
Yeah. I'm like, wee. So we're following and we're giving the license plate. Of course, my brother's like, it's just fucking stolen. He's an idiot. Like, I hate this guy already. Like, to the 911 operator. And as we're driving, like, as you go further down, there's like Bethpage State Parkway. They're like, there's a state trooper at Bethpage State Parkway. Can you follow him till there so we know which one it is? We're like, okay. So we put our hazard lights on, and we're like, we have our hazard lights on. The guy in front of us is the person, right? So we're driving. We finally get to the Bethpage State Parkway. It's not that, but it's like 6 minutes. It's not even really a big deal. But as we're driving, the guy sees us, and then we see the cop coming, and we merge in the right lane, and the cop passes us, and then we're like, all right, we'll turn our lights on. My brother's on the phone. He goes, yeah, I think the cop's got him. And then the girl goes, the cop says follow him. So we're like, oh shit. So we're like speeding, like we're like badasses in a Honda CRV, just like speeding down Sunset Parkway. We get to 110, which is where I live now. And there's like a turn off to go down like a side street. He parks in front of it. We park behind him. The cop turns around, like looks at us, gives us like the 1 second finger. And we're like, okay, we'll wait. And
you guys are ready to be knighted. You're like, they're going to give us a badge, a gun.
we're ready to fucking testify right here on the side of Southern State Parkway. And so the guy comes over, and we roll down a window, and we're looking at him. It's Christmas Eve. And the guy goes, he said he had one drink. And me and my brother just, like, the three of us start laughing hysterically. Like, we've been cops for 20 years. And, like, we've heard this 100 times.
Sure he did.
What a loser. Like high-fiving each other. The cop goes like, okay, like, guys, I got from here. I saw enough between Bethpage State Parkway 110 to reasonably pull him over. So you're good. You can go. So like, okay, thank you so much, officer. And we leave. And so for the rest of the drive home, we're like looking for like other like crimes to solve. But that story of like the chase, every time I get to that point, someone's like, all right, you're fucking full of shit. But like my brother and I swear to God, we were like the shittiest Starsky and Hutch ever, like in a Honda CRV.
If I had just met you or only knew you for like a month or even a few months, I'd be like, yeah, Dan might be full of shit. But yeah, knowing you, I'm like, no, that happened. I totally believe that. Plus, it's not like he was like, the cop says follow. The craziest thing is the cop being like, follow me.
Yeah.
Not being like, it's not like you got there and it's like, all right, guys, let's go beat the shit out of this guy together or something.
I just love,
like, I don't know about that.
My two favorites are like, at that point I had not bought my Crown Victoria, but if I had a Crown Victoria, it'd been like the perfect day of my life. Like, look how great this car is. So, secondly, my favorite part is not just the follow me. It's the coming back to the car, like head, like arm on the hood. Like he said he had one drink, and the three of us, I'm like, not kidding, like sitcom laughed for like a minute and a half. I'm like, what a loser! Like high fives and tears with coffee cups. It was just one of the funniest moments of my life. But like, it's just not really. It's just like such a weird.
Yeah, it's one of those like that's like this. Mine is actually so. It's funny you brought that up because mine is the story I told you in the green room the other night about I was hooking up with that girl.
That kid you killed?
Yeah. about
what
that
do you think
girl.
I was gonna do? What that's like?
About that girl. I worked in a supermarket in Ireland called Tesco, and I was a trainee manager.
I know Tesco.
I know Tesco.
The four wheels and the carts. Here's the thing: it's like IKEA carts. They don't. There's not like the back wheels that go straight with the turning front. They all move side to side.
Yeah, they're
so you
very
can, like, that's the Tesco shopping, and you put like a euro into the slot to get it, and then you get a euro back when you.
Yeah, it stops people leaving their carts all over the parking lot like fucking animals.
Yeah, they got the food in the aisles.
Yeah.
So
digestives. As a trainee manager, you're the one that always locks up at the end of the night, right? You don't get to go home. You have to make sure all the staff, the shelves are packed, everything is done. So there's this one girl that I got, that I was hooking up with. And we went down, we took a drive. I didn't know the town that well because I was new to it. So she goes, come down here. She brought me to this place. It was down near Courtown Beach. And as I was explaining to Dan, like if I explain, like you got to drive up like a key-shaped area, right? So it's woods everywhere. And then there's a big round. And you park in the round area and then you go hiking through the woods. So it's during the nighttime, full moon ish. And we park up and we just start making out, nothing crazy. And I look over her shoulder and I see this guy crawling up to the car.
Hell yeah.
And I just
and that's how I met Dan Barry.
I just fucking
military crawling.
I fucking floored it.
He said he had one drink and we just started
Crawls up to the car and is like, please, I gotta get back to Dunbar.
But there was no I know nobody was in danger because there was no murders then really unless they were gang related. You know what I mean? There was no innocent person who just randomly got murdered unless it was a gang related. Very rare did it happen in Ireland. And so I just figured it was just some fucking peeping Tom. You know what I mean? Just
turns out it was the Night Stalker, Richard.
Yeah, Ramirez.
Right. And he had went to Ireland for one day to kill, and Nick Thomas ruined it.
He went back to Tracy's roots. But yeah. So
last time I was in Ireland, I literally landed, and as I got in the car, I started driving to wherever. It's not the last time I was in Ireland, but like when I went with my family for a week. We were in the car, and then when I landed, there was the discovery of a body in a field just outside of Dublin. And during the course of the week, we found the case unfolding, and it was solved the day we went back. And it was like one of the more interesting times I've been.
The Dan Barry show goes international, right?
What's that?
Like the Dan Barry show goes international.
Yeah, it's just like random shit. I'm just trying, but it's funny because I'm listening, I'm like, huh. Oh, he was found in a field after a night of drinking. Oh, he probably died from alcohol poisoning. Oh no, there was bludgeon marks in his head. Let's see how this plays out.
Could have been an animal. We'll see. Maybe he was taking a nap, got trampled.
It was kids awry. They were playing something. They were doing something where the kids were, it's like teenagers. They did something threw him in the air or whatever. He landed on his head and died instantly. And they ran away because they didn't know how to explain it. So that's the story of what happened. But it was I landed the day he died, and then throughout the week there's twists and turns. There's listening to a podcast in the middle of the day, just as you're driving. I'm in Limerick. I'm they're still investigating the Smith murder.
Everyone to Dan Barry, who all the cops didn't have real Irish accent. They had that cliche American version of it. Well, Dan Barry, welcome to Ireland.
So there was a murder. And
watch how we're cracking by the new week.
This is not the type of town that happens here in Ballabaloula, which is not.
Maybe back in Dunbar, not over here.
Oh, they were playing in the fog.
That does sound kind of like a bullshit story from those kids. They're like, what really happened? It's well, we threw him up in the air, then he fell on his head, and we ran away. It's why would you throw him up in the air? It sounds like assault. It's
well, because he was a piece of shit. We just threw him in the air. It was fun for us. Oh man.
So I'm on the couch and I find out I win the lottery.
You buy a recorder and you learn how to play music.
Wait a minute, hold on. Is that the end of the story though? That the guy creeping up to the car? What happened?
Oh, that was it. I floored it. That was it. I said that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just floored it. That was it.
Poor soul needed help, and you got out of there.
It turns out it was
the guy's legs
husband.
eaten off by a banshee.
I turned me jacket inside out as to hide from the banshees. We drove past the cemetery.
I've been wandering around this fairy ring for 3 weeks. Please get me out of here.
My legs are killing me now. My elbows are fucked.
Oh my God. That's
yeah. I think I would go through a stage of not telling anybody that I won $700 million. I would be my own little
you
game.
You can't in New York.
No, it would be my own. I mean, even if it wasn't an issue, it would be my own little game just to see. I would not go about. I would kind of somewhat go about my life. I would quietly quit work and not tell anybody. And people just think like, oh, I'm off. You know.
Here's what I would get: like one of those big furry costumes. You know what I mean? Like with like the cartoon character animals. And
yes.
I'd collect my check that way. So when they take the picture, because in New York State they have to take a picture of you, it would say Daniel Barry won. And there'd be this guy in a giant furry costume. And then people will be more interested in the furry costume and be like, Dan, did you win lotto? I'm like, do I look like I wear a fucking furry costume? They'd be like, yeah, you're right. It wouldn't be you. And that's all I need.
Well, they'd be like, well, yeah, episode 6 of that podcast you did, you'd say you did exactly that.
So 14 people would know.
Yeah.
I would go somewhere by myself, maybe bring a few mates and just unwind for a week, maybe 2. I have no plans. Like, I don't know.
I'd take care of my family. Like, you know what I mean? Like super shit. Like you take care of your family, like buy a house somewhere that I really want to live. And then probably just, I'd like learn how to fly a plane. Like I'd find like things to do. Cause I can't just like not do something. I'm not that person. I need to like engage in something.
Let me ask you guys
learn to
this.
fly a plane. Go ahead.
Cause this has always been my question about the lottery for myself. And for the sake of this question, let's say that in 6 months, stand-up comedy returns to what it once was. Everything kind of goes back to normal stand-up wise. Mm-hmm. Winning the lottery, does that kill your stand-up career? Like, do you still do stand-up? How do you handle that?
It makes
people want to hear jokes from someone who they know is worth $450 million after taxes, you know?
If you're funny, you're funny, right? So like if you're a millionaire who's funny, you can find a way to be a funny millionaire. Like not for nothing, but prior to Louis C.K. being a piece of shit, or I guess in the middle of it, like everyone knew he was rich and he found ways to like acknowledge it in some ways and then like move on. So he did a bit or whatever. He was like, I was flying in first class because like, fuck it, I fly first class now. That's what happens. And he just moved on and people laughed. Like there's a way to be funny about it, I think. I don't know. I'm not funny poor, so I don't imagine I'm going to be hilarious rich. But I think I just chase any dream I want. Like I wanted to be an actor. I always wanted to be in a movie. Like I'm going to act and I'm going to do auditions. I'm not going to like pay my way to be in a movie, but I'm going to like
just make your own movie. You got the money.
I wouldn't do it. There's a pride element to it too. Like maybe I'll say I wouldn't do it now. And maybe when I have $700 million, like, fuck you. Here's $10 million. Guess who's acting across from Anna Kendrick? Like it's gonna be me. Like, I don't know why I went with Anna Kendrick and not like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I don't know. I just picked.
We all know why Anna Kendrick. Come on, bro.
I love.
I think I know what you're saying about stand up, especially where I am right now with the type of material I'm doing. It's supposed to be somewhat relatable. So now you have to. I mean, you look at Chris Rock, right? I won't say Jerry Seinfeld because Jerry Seinfeld's style of comedy has never really changed. But someone like Chris Rock, he, you kind of have to find something that's relatable to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to say, like, don't you hate it, guys, when the windows in your private jet get all condensation just when you're about to land at the best cities? Like, it's, people are not going to like, yeah, I know, we get it. You kind of have to find something. I mean, I would just say go continue with your life stories and make whatever happened to you funny.
Yeah, and then at one point your life stories aren't gonna be funny anymore because like, and then I found $700 million, and it's like, okay, this guy can fuck himself. No, like, would you start like a business? Would you start like a comedy club so that other people can get stage time? Would you do something like that, or are you basically just like, I have my millions, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want. I'm not investing in something. I'm not creating something. Like I'm just gonna do what I want to do.
I think I'd try out a few different lifestyles because I don't know what would suit me. I could, I
Right.
joke about it about being Brian Wilson and just fucking living my days in my robe and kind of doing nothing but creating stuff at home. But that probably wouldn't work out. I'd probably try the international travel thing, but then you're not really when you have like crazy money like that and you do international travel, unless you really like commit to it, I'd probably be taking the easy way out, staying at nice hotels, not really getting the feel for like living in other places,
Well,
I don't know.
because that's not even what super rich people do. They rent a
Well,
villa.
that's because but here's the thing: people who win the lottery do shit like that.
Right. People
like
who win the lottery stay at like the
instantaneously
nicest.
super rich. Yeah. They don't know how to be rich, and I don't know how to be rich.
Yeah. There's a story. So like I used to live out east in Southold, which is North Fork, which is always weird to me. But I lived out there and I worked at a winery. And you see people who like own wineries, and people who own wineries don't own wineries because the wineries generate a shitload of income. They generally they break even more often than not because owning a winery is more of a status symbol than it is like an actual business. So they're owning their winery, and they'll pull up, and it's like some of them have like trucks, some of them have like they're not pulling up in like Aston Martins and Ferraris and all these things. They're driving like regular cars because like that's what wealthy people do. Like wealthy people don't think like, oh, I have to show everyone. Rich people think that way. Does that make sense? Like there's a fundamental breakdown of who thinks what. Like the John Mulaney bit is like Donald Trump looks like what Donald Trump acts like what a homeless person thinks a rich person acts like. Like that concept of like everything has to be gold and like whatever. Like that's not like a wealthy like old money person.
It's gauche.
I would just it's a nice word, Rooney. I would just continue doing comedy and enjoy lifestyle. That's it. Like I would travel, I would do comedy all over the world, and I would just keep doing. That's all the things I would.
There's an idea, actually. Sorry, not to cut you off. But if I had the money, I would maybe consider relocating to like maybe Ireland, more than likely England or Australia, though, and setting down there and doing comedy there because I just feel like I'd have a huge leg up.
In America, this is what we do.
Also, like, I mean, I'm not going to try to disparage international comedy, but the United States is at the forefront of what stand-up is.
It is. I agree. I can say that being a foreigner.
But there's also I think there's different types of humor whereas like I would like, so when I did stand up in Dublin, it was like the people who did stand up in Dublin did very like story and then like
a lot of fat, right? A lot of fat in the story too.
Yeah, there's a lot of fat in the story because they're taking you in a tale, and it's a different like the Irish audience, I'll say, was ready for like longer bits and they were okay with it. And they give a big laugh at the end because they were happy to be part of the story. Whereas my bits are not really that. Like I think I have long bits sometimes because of where I do comedy. Like you're much more punchy in New York. So when I came to Ireland and I was doing my bits, they were like laughing with me because they hadn't seen it before, but like that they were so used to the people before them with those long-winded fatty bits,
right?
That they probably like. This is a true story. I'm just going to tell you like with no hyperbole, and here is the weaving of the tale.
Right. I'm just a funny person telling you. But like, even I was talking to I did Paul Verzi's Patreon the other day, and he started talking about like going to see. He saw Ed Sheeran, and he talked about he couldn't believe like how funny this guy is. And I go, what do you mean? He goes like he tells these stories in between his songs. I'm like, but that's a lot of Irish people, a lot of English people. They do that too, right? They play a song and then they talk for a bit and they tell a funny story about, hey, I came down here. And that's how my favorite comedian, Billy Connolly, started. He was just a musician and he would play songs and then tell a story. Then the stories got longer and the songs got shorter. And then he just started, and that's how he became a comedian. But yeah, I think, and that's when I moved here first, I was like, all right, I watch people like just how sharp and there's no fat on their stories. And I came from a world where the comedy I watched and grew up watching was all long-winded stories. I was like, what if I could combine them? Nice stories with no fat on them, and that's kind of that's the kind of style I kind of tried to emulate to or tried to create myself.
Well, you're nailing it, Mick.
But I'd buy a Harley is what I'm saying.
Probably two. One for me and one for me after that one.
Buy a Harley, not a nice car. I'm not a car person. Something I've had this conversation with somebody before. Like I only care what's on the inside of the car. As long as the inside, because that's what I'm looking at. Like if someone came up to me and gave me a free car and there was a big purple cock on the side of it, and they're like, listen, this is a nice car. On the inside, it's got all mod cons, everything you need, like everything. The car looks amazing. It does but on the outside, it's just a big purple cock. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I don't give a shit what it looks like on the outside. So that's why I'm not a car person.
You should be the guy who drives the Oscar Mayer Wiener mobile around.
If it was nice on the inside.
I bet it's nice. It's got to be nice. It's probably a lot of nitrates, but
it's a truck.
Yeah, if it was easy on gas,
really, is that what we're gonna do? The dentist, we're gonna. Yeah, no one knows what the Oscar Mayer Wiener truck is made of, but it looks delicious.
Right.
Sure
so I've never been a car person. I've never like if I've been out to the Hamptons, I've been into the city, certain areas, and I see a car go by, and I don't even give it a second look.
You know what I might do if I
don't
won
even do one of these? I go, wow.
I might. I like that, man. Go out.
Rooney would just get a new car like that.
I don't think so. I'm starting to think about it now. I might get rid of my car. Oh no, I'd probably keep my car just because you want a car. But I might do very little driving from then on out. I am not I like driving, but I think I'd prefer being chauffeured more.
Yeah, I get it.
There are some football players who don't drive cars. What they do instead is they buy like a big van. They pimp out the inside of the van, and then they have one of their friends drive them places. And they go, "I'm gonna be in the back playing video games. You just drive me." That
would be a must for me, to buy a huge van that I can convert, and then I would drive around the States, probably doing comedy and sleeping in the van, and just going to cool areas, because I love that open travel, like not tourist type travel, but like, hey, there's a mountain over here, let's go fucking hike it. How
many weeks does Mick last in the van before he pulls it up to a Marriott and just goes inside and goes
you'd be surprised, man, how much I love isolation. I would love it.
I think Mick would dig the van. Yeah, no, it's like you said, the isolation, but also there's in a motel room in the van? You know what I mean? The van's probably nicer.
That's exactly.
It's only your semen stains in the van.
That's it. Only mine.
Potentially.
Only mine, baby.
Podcast studio on the back of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Tom Green's doing something like that now.
Tom Green has one. Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Yeah.
So does Wee Man.
Does he?
Yeah.
I hope he's got someone else with him, man. It's dangerous out there.
it's scary for him. He has his own custom van that he drives around.
I would love to go to Alaska. I'd love to go to all those places and just do comedy in my van. That'd be it.
I'll buy a plane and fly myself all over the world.
Pick me up.
All right, I got you.
So here's another question I wanted to get to, if you think we have time. And
that's all the time we got, guys. See you later.
All right, it was great.
Comedy's all about timing, Mick.
So Rooney is part of a syndicate at work, right?
Crime syndicate, yeah.
Yeah. So 6 people, Rooney, for your ticket you chipped in?
No, it's a lot. I don't know how many it is. It's not at my job, actually. A buddy of mine, just a friend of mine I've known for years, he asked a bunch of people, like, I'm putting together a pool. You put however many shares. If we do win, if you have more shares than other people, it all gets divided out evenly. But I'm the idiot where, like, I haven't looked at the numbers. I won't check it out. I feel like I could get duped. I got to be careful. This guy could win and cut me out. I would never know.
He really said, do you guys want to contribute to my chances of winning the lotto?
That's why you photocopy. That's why you photocopy the tickets.
What? Sorry, Mick, what did you say?
You photocopy the tickets.
No, he sent me the picture of the tickets, but I don't know. Could be different. Like, I'm so dumb that, like, I could see him winning, telling me, no, we didn't win. And he'd be like, oh, okay. Or he'd be like, no, I bought my own ticket, though, on the side outside of the pool. I'd be like, oh.
Yeah, that's the big one, right? But the question I have is, right, let's say you're working on a factory floor, right? That's because where we are now, it's a different scenario, because I like to think we're friends and we wouldn't fuck each other over. But there's 10 of us on a factory floor. We just guys that come in. We don't text after work. We don't hang out at the weekend. We work from across each other, assembling some fucking, I don't know, whatever it is. And we just, we get through the day fine. We laugh and joke, whatever. Now, we all chip in every
around the holidays.
You what?
Do we do Secret Santa around the holidays?
Only if we're forced to by the
head. Yeah, it's $20 each. We don't go.
Well, we kind of like it though. We hope we get each other, right?
Right.
All right, go ahead.
So now we all put in like $1 every week for the lotto. Now all of a sudden, one guy, right? We'll call him Jeff. Jeff isn't in, and he didn't put in his $1, right? And we all win. now we've been doing it for years. Do you cut Jeff in on that money? Now, here's the thing. In our heads, we go like, yeah, of course, I'd like to do the right thing. But here's the thing. You have to physically, because Jeff doesn't get to go with you to claim the money. When everyone gets their money, everyone has to sit down and write out a check for $1 million, let's say, and like hand it over to Jeff.
And you also have your lawyer, and you're going, you really don't have to do this. Technically, you got no case to stand.
You'll never see him again. You do realize that, right?
Yeah, right.
Do you give him his share of the money if he wasn't there? Now, you've been playing for years.
And he always puts in?
Always puts in, but this 1 week he didn't put in.
Absolutely. Give it to him. Absolutely. What am I, an asshole? Absolutely.
If you don't think I'm stealing that ticket and running away from all of you, no. You give money.
Like, not only is he not getting the cut, nobody's getting the cut because I bought the tickets. I'm the one who goes every day at lunch to the fucking corner store. I lose 10 minutes out of my lunch break.
I would like to think I would, right? I would like to think I would. Now, but there's something, man. There's something about physically, because we're playing the hypothetically, giving the money's fine. But now that money is in your bank account, and now you physically have to take out $1 million, maybe more.
Except you don't. Really?
And then you
just take and collect the money at the lotto station and say, like, yeah, he was part of it. And then it solves all these problems.
No, this is my scenario, though.
Oh,
So you got to go, here you go, Jeff. Here's the money that you called out sick for. We know you weren't sick, by the way. But here's the money that you didn't come in to give us the dollar. Enjoy that.
That's the right. By the way, you're paying taxes on this again. So we already paid taxes on this, and now you have to pay the taxes on the money that we've already paid taxes on. So,
and by the way, Jeff, we took out the dollar from the total because you owed us.
Don't worry. We each took a portion out of $1.
Because that happened on Long Island years ago in Farmingdale at the Costco. They all did it. One person didn't, and they've been doing it for maybe 3-5 years, whatever it was. And there was a syndicate of 10. And then one person just wasn't in that day, and nobody put in.
Calling it a syndicate, you make it sound like it's an international crime conspiracy.
It is. We call it a pool over here. In Ireland, call it a syndicate.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Because you're a bunch of criminals.
Yeah, and the person didn't get it. They never gave the person the money, and he went to court and he lost.
That sucks.
Yeah, there was no contract drawn up. It was like they just, and nobody said, hey,
nobody
man.
In the syndicate though was like, here's 10,000 at least. Like, sorry, but
I don't know what happened afterwards, but he didn't get his share of the money. They didn't give him his equal share.
That's why I go to BJ's.
But that's why my point is you don't have to see these people again. You know what I mean? If we had won the lotto and Dan was like, hey man, I'm chartering a jet down to play golf on this island. You want to? I would. So me and Dan were going to be around each other, and you play golf too, Rooney, right? So you could come along. Or Dan's like, we all got matching Harleys. Let's go. We would see each other. Do you know what I mean? But if we worked on a factory floor or in a supermarket, you would never see each other again.
No. I'm just imagining with what Mick said about how he's torn if he'd be able to give it to them or not. I'm like, if Mick was in Train Spotting, Spud would have got shit at the end. He wouldn't have gotten dick.
But Mick is. I don't actually think Mick's even thought about giving that person the money. He's more like, are you guys on my side to not give somebody money?
Yeah. He's like, how can I frame it so that I'm torn about giving this guy the money when I have no intention?
No.
Especially if she's a woman.
But yeah. Fuck you, Joan. My what I'm saying is I would like to think I would do it. That's what I'm saying. My heart is in the right place. I would go, yes, the right thing to do is to give that person the money.
Mm-hmm.
But when you physically have to hand over the money, it looks different to a person that call out sick in the word sick. They weren't. They always do that on a Wednesday. And then all of a sudden it's big order coming in on a Wednesday, and then you didn't want to deal with it. Now you got to hand over that money.
I mean,
I'll say this. I think I would be torn if this Jeff guy, maybe he called out that day, but also Jeff kind of calls out twice a month. And every time he calls out, he doesn't put in for the syndicate. You know what I mean?
And he gets you the next day. He comes back in on Thursday. Here's the dollar.
And there's been days where Jeff's like, I don't have the dollar on me, but put it in. I'll hit you at the end of the week. And he never does.
Right. The week goes by. Nobody won anything, so nobody's looking for the dollar.
Yeah, if that's Jeff, then I might be like, yo, Jeff, you made your bed, bro. Now you got to sleep in that shit.
You see? It's not always black and white, lads.
No, it's not. But I think I'd still give Jeff a little bit of money.
I might give him something. I go, Jeff, let me
Get your life together and never call me again.
I'm like, look, how much do you owe on your car? That's too much. How much do you owe on your credit? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, what do you owe on your car? Like $5,000
Here's
left?
a Razor scooter.
Yeah. I go, let's go to the credit union and pay off your car loan. Let's do that. I'll do that for you. So you know what I mean? But that's all I'm doing. And maybe
on that note, fuck Jeff. We're out of here.
Yeah.
Guys, the Dan Barry on Twitter and Instagram, prowrestlingtees.com/Team Tremendous to buy some shirts. What else you got? Dennis, alphabetical.
Dennis Rooney. Dennis Rooney, check out Netflix Book Club. Dennis Rooney 7 on Instagram. Don't friend me on Facebook because I'm deleting that shit soon. Yeah, bye. Have a good week.
All right. Mick Thomas Comedy on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that shit. And of course, Cheaper Than Therapy available where all podcasts can be found.
All right. Bye.
All right, lads. Cheers. Have a good one. Bye-bye.